Welcome to the Bike Life podcast by Warmshowers Foundation, where we will be sharing knowledge, experience, tools, and stories of touring cyclists and hosts from around the world. I'm Tavra Lee, the woman behind the scenes at Warmshowers Foundation, the leading platform for cyclists looking for hosts and to connect with a passionate international community. Find out more by visiting us at Warmshowers.org. Now, on to the show. Today we are joined by Hanna and Jonas, two ecologists who created the Biking for Biodiversity project. They began their journey in April of 2022 in Germany with the aim to learn about local initiatives that focus on nature protection. Thank you both for making the time to speak with me today.
Thank you very much for having us on the podcast. We're very excited to talk to you.
So you started your journey in April of 2022. Are you still on the same journey?
Yes, we are. We are still on the same journey. We made it to India so far, so over almost 13,000 kilometers away, and this over a year. Yeah.
Wow, amazing. And your aim to focus on, local initiatives, which I'm assuming are organizations, companies, anything that is focusing on nature protection and conservation. Has that been successful in the year so far?
It actually has been much more successful than we hoped it would be. So we started this journey with an idea, but not so much preparation. We have worked in the nature conservation sector in Europe before, so we had some connections there. But after that, it was pretty much just a blind dive into the sea. And we didn't know what's going to come out of it. But there's been so many people that have welcomed us, that have showed us amazing things, the amazing work they do. So it's been super successful.
Yeah. And what is your plans to do with, what are you going to do with all of this information that you're gathering? I mean, I know that if the aim is successful, that means you've got a ton of data, probably qualitative, quantitative, and then what? What are you going to do with all this information?
Yeah, as Jonas said, basically, we as ecologists, we just had this idea that we want to see the world on bicycle, because we love cycling, we love the outdoors, and to connect our two passions, nature protection and being in the outdoor sports. But we didn't really have a vision of what we will do afterwards. And so many people asked us in the beginning, okay, what will be the outcome? What will be the thing you produce? Because I think our brains in this, capitalist society are wired to think that way. So we didn't really know what to answer to that question. We know that, on our journey, basically, we are writing articles. So we are meeting conservationists. We created a website, which is called bikingforbiodiversity.org. And there we are writing, these are kind of articles sharing local conservation stories. For example, snow leopard conservation in the Pakistani Himalayas recently, or how crocodiles and humans coexist in a state in India. These kind of stories that we base on meeting with local people. So this is what is already coming out of our journey. And of course, as one could imagine, thousands and tens of thousands of photo and video material that we are just collecting, and we have some ideas of maybe a book, maybe a documentary. These kind of things are floating around, but so far we are just focusing on being on the road and experiencing and sharing as much as possible.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you're right. We do often focus on the outcome, but the outcome is just actually the journey, the experience itself. And I love that. I love that so much. And I can only imagine after a year, the information that you've been able to produce. And I'm going to check it out. And we will make sure to put the link to bikingforbiodiversity.org in the show notes, but people can check it out as well. I think that alone, the fact that you're starting to share, or if you've been sharing articles along the way, that is super powerful.
Yeah, when we started the journey, the beginning of the idea was that we want to go out and experience something, see the world, but then we also thought, but we also want this to have an impact. We want to make a change with it, So we thought if we go visit these people and hear all these amazing stories and learn a lot from them, then we should share that as well. So that's why we decided to start a blog, to become active on social media, so that people can see what kind of amazing work people are doing out there, and that nature conservation can really, for local, like on a small scale, can really have a big impact for people, and that it's not always just about sacrificing and things like that, and that it's not only the global leaders that have to do something, but that it can have a real impact in the community.
Which you're doing, because what I can see that's taking place along your journey is something that could be implementable where I live or where someone else lives. Like, it's like the cross sharing of information is really a true collaboration, because otherwise a lot of people won't know. A lot of people don't know necessarily what's going on, especially at the ground level, because we can see the high level global corporate work that's being done, but not always at the ground level. So that's a really brilliant thing that you're doing along the way.
Yeah, totally. As you said, that there are these big corporations who are often doing great work, and they are often helping local communities, but mostly still we are meeting with people and organizations who don't really have a voice or don't really have a chance to connect with like-minded organizations in another country, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And they are really lacking the possibility to exchange knowledge and these kind of things. So we try to share their kind of stories and try to show how, different countries, they have different ways of approaching nature protection, but there are still, as you said as well, there are so many similarities that we can learn from each other, and we should, because there is already a lot of awareness about that we are in a climate crisis, right? But there is not so much talk about biodiversity crisis, and it is actually happening. And I think us cyclists who are choosing to travel by bicycle, we are seeing these changes even without having to have studied it in university. We see and experience the heat, the drought, the conditions of how difficult it is to sometimes in urban areas to cross, because there is really just so much human encroachment, and many other things that we do experience and people do experience if they go outside. It's just that many people tend to just live in their concrete bubbles and they don't really want to connect with nature anymore.
Yeah, very true. I was going to ask you for some examples, but you've just given some very good examples. So let me go back just a step here. So you started in Germany. Is that where you're from?
So I'm from Germany, from Frankfurt, and Hanna is from Slovakia. We actually met in Austria when we both worked for a small NGO. And then we started from Germany because we quit our jobs in Austria. We've quit our flat there as well. So we had to bring our stuff somewhere, had to store it somewhere. And then it was the easiest to bring it to my parents' place and start the journey from there.
I understand. And so when did you quit your jobs just prior to starting this journey?
Yeah, we stretched it out until then. It was kind of like we had still tasks to do. So basically we quit at the end of March and then started this journey at the end of April. So it was like a chaotic month of moving out, leaving a city, a country, putting all our stuff into boxes, and then, saying goodbye to family, getting all the last kind of gear that we still wanted to, and then just setting off. And yeah, we haven't stopped since. And people ask us like, when will you return home? And the thing is, for us, we don't even have like a permanent home to return to.
Yeah.
So it's just, it was a big decision at that time. And we are still enjoying it.
So you didn't start out with an end destination in mind or a time limit in mind. Is that correct?
Well, we kind of did. We just to give ourselves some kind of reference. We said, okay, we want to go until Singapore. basically saying we want to go towards Southeast Asia as far as we can go. And then Singapore is just, from there, it's only ocean. And we thought maybe 1.5 years is realistic. Now we are approaching the 1.5 years and we're still not so close to Singapore. So, and then throughout the journey, so many times we thought, oh, this is like, we could spend 3 months just in one small country, or we could continue until Australia, or like constantly we're changing plans, we're changing how long we plan to stay in one country. So it is open-ended, there's ideas where it could go, but in the end we will see where it takes us.
Yeah, I understand. We hear a lot of that on this podcast and in Warm Showers, of ideas that change once you get to new places, because, it's a new experience and you don't know what you're going to feel until you feel it. So you're never sure exactly where it's going to take you.
Totally. And just the situation that we are in now is a great example of that, because we are the monsoon is just about to arrive to Mumbai, where we are currently located. It already arrived to Kerala, or Karnataka, Kerala, the southern tip of India. And basically it's already delayed. So it should have been here 2 weeks ago. It's extreme drought. We have been, I think in the last days, we have cycled in 45 degrees Celsius, really, really hot and dry conditions. And everything, humans and nature, everything is craving water now. But of course, the start of the monsoon is really heavy rain and thunderstorms. So we don't know what's going to be like. We never cycled the monsoon. I never experienced the monsoon. We have absolutely no idea. So we have to keep maximum flexibility and just go with the flow.
Yeah, maximum flexibility. I like that. I think that's a great motto for a lot of cyclists, maximum flexibility. So you're currently in Mumbai.
Yeah, exactly.
Where do you have planned to, other than, being flexible, but what direction are you going next?
Yeah, in India, it's really, I think, the hardest so far to decide where we want to go and what we have to skip, because India is such a big and super diverse country. And, with every person we meet, they tell us, oh, you have to go to this place or you have to go to this place. So at the moment, the idea is to follow the coast to Mumbai, to Goa from Mumbai, and then skip the central part of India, simply because it's like 2,000-3,000 kilometers to get towards Bangladesh, where we eventually want to go. And it would take us another few months to get there. And even though it's open-ended journey, we have to make some progress.
Yeah, but we have been crisscrossing here in South India. We already cycled to Nepal and cycled inside Nepal and did some trekking, and then came all the way back and went into Pakistan because we were extremely curious about the country. Saw as much as possible in Pakistan in 6 weeks, and then came back to India for the third time we crossed into India. And now we are just moving south and gathering experiences and meeting people.
So how do you decide? So is it primarily terrain, what the timing is like, the climate, the people, like how do you make decisions?
I mean, in the beginning, the idea was basically to cycle in a more or less straight line from Germany to Singapore. And that somewhat worked in Europe. So we cycled from Germany towards the Black Sea, then through Turkey. We dipped down to the south in Turkey and back up to visit Georgia and Armenia. But then, unfortunately, we were not able to go to Iran. It was soon after the protest broke out when we had to make that decision. And since we want to talk to nature conservationists and we are online openly talking about issues, it would have been especially problematic for us to go there. So with a heavy heart, we decided to fly to Delhi. And then from there, it got pretty crazy because we wanted to see Nepal. We wanted to go back to Pakistan. So now we're doing kind of a loop in India. And we always have an idea where to go. But then life just gets in the way and people say you have to go there. they have to go there. Somebody invites us, like often people hear about our journey, about what we do, and they just message us and say, yeah, you should come visit my hometown. I want to tell you about my work. I want to show you my work, what we do here. And then we try to incorporate that on our route. And it's one of the hardest tasks to choose. Like here in India, we would have loved to go to the very north, so the high Himalayas. We would love to go to the southern tip because it's, again, completely different biodiversity. Yeah, it's a long process of just figuring it out.
And do you ever disagree on where you want to go between the two of you? Like, how does that work?
I don't think we disagree on major things. On locations, not really. We have spent the last 13 months all together, like 24/7, basically. I think there has been maybe 2 days that we spent apart from each other. And so our brains and thinking are quite wired, intertwined. But we do disagree on smaller things, and we do have different, like our comfort zones don't completely align. So definitely in smaller things, we do have to micromanage so that both of us kind of feel still comfortable and has their own time to do the things that they love to do and have, are able to relax as well. So in that kind of way, yes. And sometimes, especially in South Asia, it has been incredible to experience the hospitality of people, really so outstanding. For us, this is definitely something that in Europe we have never experienced in this way. But of course, it also becomes overwhelming as a traveler. It becomes really overwhelming to encounter and to be the receiver of this so much kindness, and then also to be constantly trying to reciprocate it, because of course you want to be thankful, so you want to constantly be present and be, talking and communicating and being interested in their story. And this kind of can be over a certain course of time, it can be a bit tiring. So I think we have like different thresholds in that way, who needs some social time off, and who can still kind of manage these situations.
I like it. I like it that you would tag team that, because it is true, especially with Warm Showers hosts. They want to get to know you. They want to talk. Like, they want to spend time with you. And if you've been on a stretch of tour that you're tired, it can be difficult to determine, like, where can I go, like, lock myself in my room and just sleep and have a shower and just be super grateful from my heart, not from my voice. How can my heart be grateful enough and my voice get a rest? I totally understand that. And we do actually hear that a lot from cyclists, that, that balance of having the solitude together versus, being outgoing and social with those that you are super grateful for. It's definitely a balance. And I like that you two are like tag teaming that approach.
Yeah, but I think Warm Showers is specifically nice for that in our experience, because it really bikers host bikers, right? So they know what it's like to travel like this. They know so many times we arrived to a place and they were like, okay, here's the Wi-Fi. Do you need to wash your clothes? Do you need to take a shower? Just relax. And I don't know, here's a cold drink. And just to be able to, feel that they understand you, because they know what it's like to travel like this, to be on the road, is really just such a relief, because you arrive to somebody, like a complete stranger's home, and then they just exactly are able to read your mind in a single moment. That's great.
Yeah, they know your needs. Totally. So what would you want listeners to know about embarking on a trip like this that is pretty all-encompassing, like taking the direction of your passion, your career, and combining it with cycling? What would you like listeners to know if they have a deep passion to, which might be different than yours, but if they have a deep passion to, what would you like them to know about getting started on something so adventurous and also educational?
Well, first thing is, don't be afraid. There's no need to. Like, so many people have asked us, are you not scared? Mostly they ask us, are you not scared of wildlife? And that we can say is not an issue at all. As wildlife biologists, we can say that wildlife attacks are super rare. That it's basically not a problem at all. That you have camped in all kinds of places, in remote places everywhere, in places with a lot of wildlife, nothing ever happened. And also the people are super kind. Like, we have met thousands of people on this journey, and the vast majority of them have been so kind to us. And then also that you don't have to start that big, you don't have to quit your jobs and go on a 1.5-year journey around half of the world. But if you want to get into cycling, or if you want to experience nature, you can just start in front of your doorstep. You can just go for a day ride, and you can go for a 2-day ride, and just work it up. You can go just to a little forest near you, or to the nearest national park, go there for an overnight trip, and just, get familiar with it, get comfortable with it. And then if you want, it can become something like what we do.
Yeah. And I think also another point is to just don't be afraid of the unknown, or it's a great training to get comfortable with the unknown, because things will never work out the way you planned in such a journey, but also in life, so it's a good lesson for many other parts of your life. Things will never work out the way you planned, and you have to be flexible, you have to be adaptive. And in this kind of journey just teaches you to enjoy this kind of unknown situations, that many great parts of this adventure, many big stories to tell, actually starts from a place where where things just went wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. And I want to say thank you for the efforts you're doing on nature conservation and really working in this area, because it's near and dear to my heart and to a lot of our listeners' hearts in this community. So the work you're doing and what you're sharing is super helpful. So thank you for that part of it. And also thank you for coming on this show. I love it. I mean, what time is it in Mumbai right now?
It is about 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
in the evening.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to share. I'm excited to have our listeners hear your story and check out your blog, and know that you still have a lot of journey ahead of you. I can't wait to hear where it takes you.
We also can't wait.
Yeah. As you said, if people are interested, they can follow us on our website, bikingforbiodiversity.org, or just Instagram and Facebook at Biking for Biodiversity, and see what we're up to.
We're going to put all those links in the show notes, because that people that listen to the show, they're going to be like, Hanna and Jonas, I want to find them now. That's super interesting. It is super interesting what you're doing, and it is commendable. And yeah, great. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
And listeners, make sure you check out those links. We will put them all in the show notes, and follow along, because I have a feeling that Hanna and Jonas are going to continue to have really great stories to share with us along their way. And if you loved the show, make sure that you share it, because sharing is caring, and that's how we spread the word and grow together. And so thank you again, Hanna and Jonas. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much, Everly, for having us.
We will be back again soon.
Thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed the show as much as we enjoyed making it. Wherever you are listening, please leave us a rating and a review, as it helps us reach more cyclists and hosts around the world. Visit us at Warmshowers.org to become a part of our community, or on Instagram at Warmshowers_org. If you would like to be a guest on the show or submit a question, please make sure to email us at podcast@warmshowers.org.